training for it's called ADEM 101. And in order to run for assembly delegate in California, it's required that you attend one of these trainings. I do not intend to run this time around because I'm healing from the dog bite injury, and it's just too stressful. Every single time I run, a hit campaign is thrown out against me. So I don't want to do it this time. I'm in too much pain. But I will tell you, um, they cover the basic information, the deadlines of like, you have to apply. I think the cutoff is like early next week to register to run for assembly delegates. You have to be a registered Democrat to vote if you want to vote in the process. That I will be doing. I will be a voter. Um, you have to be a registered Democrat by the last election, I believe, in order to run. So you would have had to have registered as a Democrat before November 8th in order to actually run for assembly district delegate. What is it? It's the third leg of the stool to the California Democratic State Party. And basically, it's supposed to be the grassroots representation in the party. What unfortunately has been happening over the last few cycles is that we have a lot of big players involved who run slates. So down here in South Orange County, it's been mostly congressional leaders. So Katie Porter, Harley Ruda, and Mike Levin got together and they would endorse candidates and they would then electioneer the lines. That was when we were doing it in person. The last time it was vote by mail entirely because of the pandemic. Um, they're always in the odd years, right? So it was 2021 last time. This time it's going to be 2023. I believe this time they're going to have a hybrid. They're going to have various vote centers. You can go to any vote center this time. You don't have to go to a specific one. There will be no speeches this time around. And there will also be vote by mail. You can do it both ways. That was my takeaway from it. What hasn't been addressed is the fact that the PLEOs, party leaders, and elected officials are still getting involved in endorsing candidates and running slates. That becomes problematic because um, elected officials automatically have a seat at the table. That's another leg of the stool. And they get appointees. They also get to appoint additional people. And because of the way the timeline works, the assembly district delegate elections happen first. So they can try and get in their people on a slate and sweep up the seats. And then whoever they are unable to get in, they can appoint later because they don't have to name their appointees before these elections happen. So that's one problem with how this goes. Another problem is, and I brought this up on the call, and it rattled the regional directors, is that the last time we had elections, one of the regional directors, who happens to be in my region, my regional director, tagged one of her favorite candidates, uplifted her on her social media, but also tagged me, the opposition, so that she could introduce that candidate to all of my followers. And I brought that up and said that needs to stop. You can't do stuff like that. The regional directors and the conveners need to be completely impartial. And I don't know that I brought it to the party's attention, but it seems like every time I bring something like this up, there are no consequences for the wrongdoers. Anytime I have brought forward any complaint about things that have happened at the party, there are no consequences for the wrongdoers. That was completely inappropriate. They also had problems last time around with loading our information. Like, we weren't being listed in the order that we actually registered. So, like, I registered first. I should have been at the top of the list, but I was pushed down to the bottom. And my video was not loaded for weeks. I don't think they're doing speeches this time. I'm not sure if you're allowed to, like, provide a link to a speech, or I didn't memorize everything that was said. It was a 2-hour long call. But I also was harassed in the chat by Luis Huang. He sent me a direct message, and it was something to the effect of, "Why are you talking shit about me?" That is not the appropriate place to ask me that question, and I'm also very surprised that nobody was moderating the chat and looking for harassing messages like that. But if you want to know, since I've blocked you on 4 different platforms at this point, I've blocked you on 4 different platforms at this point: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You're blocked on all 4. If you want to know, it's because of your behavior. You ran for mayor of Irvine, so you are a public figure. You do a podcast with that crazy dude. So if I'm going to talk shit, it's because you're a public figure and you're making a fool of yourself. And yeah, as soon as the Farrakhan story broke, your buddy immediately came after me as well and was like, "You owe us an apology." I don't owe you guys an apology. You were accusing Farah of being a terrorist. That is not even remotely close to the same thing as the story that broke at the end of September. I don't owe you shit, and don't you ever direct message me on a Zoom call ever again. So that happened, and then and yeah, I called out Deborah for her behavior in 2020, because that was unacceptable. She was a convener and a regional director, and she should not have been uplifting any candidates, but she most certainly should not have been tagging me in that as well when I was running against that person. That was, oh my God, even. Like, use your noodle. And the last bit of advice I had for the group, given that I am not running, is that I hope that the people who are running because they want to participate at every level in the party, the subcommittees and all of it. That you're not just coming in because you're going to endorse one candidate, because we have had that happen too, where assembly delegates who are on the congressional slates or on other slates for candidates, they have one single purpose, and that's to endorse that candidate. And then they don't participate in any other way. And they often don't even show up to, like, the pre-endorsement meetings and stuff. Like, we had dismal turnout for some of the pre-endorsing conferences. So I hope that the people that are running, that you're sincere. I will be looking at all the candidates and doing reviews of who I think is qualified and who I think is not. I'll probably make some enemies along the way, as I always do. But I've been doing this long enough that I have a pretty strong opinion and solid information about what should be happening in my area, right? So if you missed the call, you'd probably have to, like, talk to one of the regional directors, see if they recorded it, and see if they'll let you, like, review it in another way. Or if they're going to do another one. They might do more. Who knows? It was all 3 of them from Orange County, so I think that was like an Orange County wide call, but who knows?